talk to me! Glad I could help!
That spell isn't ready yet. That's still recharging. That spell isn't ready yet. That's still recharging. I can't cast that yet. That's still recharging. I can't cast that yet. That spell isn't ready yet. ain't ready yet. Do that yet. It's too far away. do that yet. That's still recharging. That spell isn't ready yet. That's still recharging. That spell isn't ready yet. I can't cast that yet. That spell isn't ready yet. I can't cast that yet. Yeah! That's still recharging. That spell isn't ready yet. That's still recharging. I can't cast that yet.
Speak, friend. I'm listening. Beware.
Hello?
What now?
That spell isn't ready yet.
What will you require? Beware the living.
What now?
I'm listening. Dark Lady.
I can't cast that yet. That's still recharging. That spell isn't ready yet.
What is it? Victory for Savannah.
Hello. Goodbye.
I can't cast that yet.
I have exactly what you need.
Interesting. Time is money, friend. Glad I could help.
Blood and thunder. Strength and honor. Farewell.
Hello, man. How you doing, man?
What you want?
You come get the voodoo.
Great to meet you. See you soon.
How are ya? Safe travels.
How are you? Keep your feet on the ground.
Need help? Be careful.
Light with you. Go with honor, friend.
Great to meet you.
Goes energy so I can have energy like Argos. It's like, yeah, I don't even have that much energy. I swear. You got my money, I appreciate it, man. Taking into consideration the game involves two player habits and interactions in the world we aren't apparent for launches this can happen organically when it's played. The classic now is so different from then as it was as players are different, hence the game won't feel different. 100%. And there's a lot of like strategies and stuff and things that have changed as a result of classic, you know. You'd ask people the fastest level in class before classic, it would be like, you know, tier those classes out, it would be a lot different. You'd ask people the fastest gold farming methods, all this, so different. Was how it was all figured out before the game was even released. It was like the raids were on farm before they were even cleared. So there's two different buckets of people for that. I feel you. I respect your opinion massively, man. I think that like 100% legitimate feeling to have that. But it's all about either discovery or mastery. Some people play a game for the discovery of it, so they can figure things out and they enjoy that process. That's probably the majority of people. Honestly, it makes the most sense. But some people, like the enjoyment of the game can be derived from like mastering the game as opposed to just figuring it out. Like, you know, it's just so different. Like that's, if you think about like just me personally speaking, I'm just sharing this because it may resonate with some of you. What I watch in my off time, I watch StarCraft, I watch Counter-Strike, I watch Dota. I watch these games that they're like old games, right? That people have just like mastered and are playing at the top level and stuff like that. You know, like there's nothing like really new about them. They've been around. There's little balance changes here and there. So it's just, one reason I think it's interesting because you can ask yourself that question. You know, what do you enjoy more out of the game? Mastering it and really being able to feel like you know everything about it and like you can like be really confident playing it and have like a well laid out plan and execute on that plan. Bob whole thought process. I'm saying like where discovery ends and mastery takes over. And that's kind of like where we are with Classic, right? There's not so much discovery anymore, but the game is still fun because there's so much mastery. No one is forcing me to min-max. Yo, what up, Great Wizard? Yo, good to see you, man. Yeah. I mean, I think it's pretty common. I get this a lot in chat, Great Wizard. People say, like, oh, I can't stand min-maxers. I think what they're really saying is they can't stand the culture of min-maxing. Because there's a culture around it. It's like, it can be really toxic, and like gatekeeping and shit, right? People like make fun of you, or like, or whatever, you know? But the idea of min-maxing in and of itself is literally just giving a shit and trying to like get better at something. Which is something that's the whole cool thing about humans that we try to do that. Like we have hobbies and passions and we like go out there and try to like work hard to get better at stuff and improve. But yeah, as long as you're not a dick, you know, min-maxing is, I don't see any problem with min-maxing. That's the whole fun of games. I like your videos, Great Wizard. Yeah, he makes some awesome PvP videos, man. One of the last true people who like really hold it down for classic PvP. You know, I wouldn't put myself in that boat even anymore, but definitely a lot of respect for Great Wizard. Ever think of making a playlist for your hardcore challenges for good binge, good watches, and just learn something about races and different ways to level? If I feel like I had a half decent stream where I'm not putting my foot in my mouth and be in bad company, I'll leave it up on my YouTube, and there's hundreds of hours of those streams up. You know, there's an equal amount of streams where I feel like I'm horrible company, and I'll just keep them unlisted. But if you go back on my YouTube channel, there should be a lot of stuff. But are you using the Succubus and Imp for Blood Pack? The Succubus isn't using the Ogres. Not Imp for Blood Pack? Well, Stamina doesn't really do anything over here. Like, Stamina is like money in a savings account. It's not generating any interest. Just stamina to get through a fight. The stamina doesn't actually do like. I mean, it'll save you maybe one time. Okay, I guess it does do something because you are playing with one life, so that stamina could save you one time. But it's not like cash flow. Right? Like spell damage is like cash flow as opposed to savings. You know, damage, literally raw damage from the Succubus is like cash flow. Like your cash flow is better. But yeah, the imp is it does a good amount of damage, but it's pretty weak. It can't really like survive very long against mobs. The Succubus can at least tank for a little bit, and it does. I think I honestly think the Succubus does more damage than the imp. It may change from different levels. At different levels, it might be different. I'm curious if any of my Warlock mains are out there. I almost feel like that was a misconception that the imp does more damage than the Succubus. Maybe if you get a fresh rank of Firebolt and Flash of Pain is really bad or something, that the imp could do more. I feel like the Succubus just does more damage. It's free damage too, right? Because the imp is just gonna burn through its mana in 1 second, and it's pretty annoying to have to like micro the imp, so it just goes on passive and doesn't cast for a long time. Succubus, you're just kind of chilling. The quality of life is really good. You just send it at the target, does some juicy right clicks, does some nice damage that way. It's free, endless damage. Yo, Mashak, thank you for the 300 bits, my friend. By Succubus or Voidwalker. If I'm in an area where I feel like I'm spaced out like this, you know, there's room for error. I evolved into because the mobs aren't overly threatening. Succubus is just gonna do much more damage than the Void and be better. But if I'm in a dangerous area, 100% Void. How come I've never seen an imp meme spec? I've tried it before. I used to test that with Navic back in the beta. We got really excited one time and went for a whole, you know, like machine gun imp spec. It was pretty fun. There was a while where people thought the leveling with the imp was the best. You guys remember that? Like pre-classic and kind of in the early formative stages of classic. A lot of warlocks were leveling with imp. Like, they were just unironically leveling with imp. Even in the early levels, you know, with Voidwalker in particular. you know, you'd see people use their imp at like 10. I never understood it though, because you don't get another rank of Firebolt until like 14 or something, so you're just using this like shitty Firebolt for so long, and the Voidwalker's pretty strong. Yo, Paddle Lock 3, thank you for the tier 1, my friend. Not a substation. We really appreciate the support, everybody. Also, Mage vs. Warlock for the first If it was me playing the Mage, part of me would, like, I would struggle with it, because a part of me really thinks, like, fire leveling would be really fun. And, you know, people always say Pyroblast is the cheapest spell in the game, because you pretty much regen the entire cost of Pyroblast, like, over its cast, as long as you're not, like, mana capped. Which is pretty cool, and you do big damage. It's flashy, but at the same time, it's totally outclassed by Frost in terms of survivability and the ability to push, like, a infinite amount of mobs and, like, break it away. Or, like, come as close as you can to break in game classic. So there's that whole struggle where it's like, I kind of want to go fire, but Frost is just so busted that I feel like I would be kind of, like, trolling a little bit. There's that. Mage is super strong for hardcore. The quality of life in Mage is insane. Because you can actually portal around, have food. It might be easier than Warlock. If you factor in the fun aspect, in addition to just like your difficulty or whatever, I think if you factor in quality of life and fun, Mage could be better than Warlock. Maybe they're about the same tier. Mage is super strong in hardcore. Yeah, I remember I asked Nom, he's the dude who has the most 60s. He's about to dink today on his Pally, by the way. It's going to be his 6th hardcore 60 today. Insane. I asked them, I was like, yo, gun to your head, if you had to pick one class to save your family from a burning building or something, and you only had one shot, what class would it be? For me, I would say Pally or something, right? He said Mage, believe it or not. Actually, it was like really shocking. You know how cooking or fishing? No, I don't. Not on this, dude. My HC Mage is 48 right now. I mean, yeah, you can kind of Frostbolt and chill, though. There's a lot of truth in that. You can slow it, you can kill it, you know? How many $dollars for you to kill your character? There's probably a price. Everybody has a price, but I'm and then Jeff Bezos pops up in the chat and he's like, I want to play a game, Carlos. Just level it up. I don't really think like that, though. I understand why some people don't like min-maxing, just like I understand why some people don't like PvP. It's more than just the culture, but approach different folks. I've seen some really nasty imp builds on Arathi Basin. I actually like this point, though. I think we can discuss it in a civil way. Like, what actually is the issue with min-maxing? I'm just curious. Because min-maxing, if you break it down, it means, like, you are maximizing efficiency even on the smallest little details. Which just seems like, oh, this person is developing a deep and thorough understanding of whatever they're trying to do, and trying to do it in the most efficient way possible, so there's not a lot of wastage for their efforts. They're kind of like just maximizing their time investment. So that is like a totally neutral thing to do, right? It's a totally neutral thing. It's usually like when you factor in the idea that, oh, by the way, this person doing that is also just going to like act like a dickhead to everybody they come in contact with. It's like, oh, okay, now I get it. These are unfearable or what? You're the student, he didn't move a muscle. Let me see it, just for science. I know it's fearable, I guess it just broke instantly. I don't mind the mixing, but I hate the culture. People make it feel like it's a necessity. Yeah, I mean, it's people being a dick, right? And there's a lot of dicks, though. 100%, man. There's a lot of dicks that just like hate on people for no reason, you know. And I will say, like, a lot of people that are like that wear the min-maxing like a badge of honor or whatever, versus the people who don't gravitate towards it. Usually, people who don't gravitate towards it are more chill. That's why I'm saying I think it's a cultural thing, you know. Which classes have you not leveled yet in hardcore or non-hardcore? I've leveled every class up to 60 in classic. Not in this classic, I mean, on a PPR or a private server or whatever. But, or just the GM server, like a Mango Solidity Pack, but every class I've pretty much played all the way to 60. say a number of drink you might be here. Yeah, what up, Tactics? Yo, thanks again for the host. That is seriously such a massive host, man. Like, you just dropped like 250. Insane, Tactics. Actually, so insane. It's been a hell of a year, dude. It's been a great year. It's been a challenging year. Pandemic going on, that definitely all sucks, but and a lot of good things that have happened as well. Good question, Warrior or Rogue for PvP alts? So your main Warlock PvP alts. I would say Rogue for an alt. I mean, just off the top, I mean, Warrior takes a lot of work. Rogues probably don't take as much work. I don't know. No, take that back. I don't know really. Because Warrior can just get the weapon. You know, they can just spam heroics, preserve all the primal nethers, and the primal vortex. You can either just have to get your hands on some of those to get your weapon. I would just say Rogue though, because you have more flexibility. You can play with more comps. Like a Warrior can't play with everybody. A Rogue can literally play with anybody. Pretty sure there's no bad 2s comps for a Rogue. What would be the worst 2s comp for a Rogue? Rogue Pally? I've never seen Rogue Pally. I've never seen Rogue Shaman either. But at the same time, you can make it work, right? Like if you just had a badass Rogue and there was just this, you know, badass Shaman, like there's no doubt in my mind that they could literally go to the highest levels. Put Mirror on Rogue or something, he put a Shaman, I mean he's gonna get there. Rogue is just so nasty, man. But it's hard though. I think Warrior's a lot easier to understand. You don't really have many buttons as a Warrior. Like half your action bar is filled and the rest is just empty when you play Warrior. Rogue apparently is kind of a thing. Like you'll, even at a higher level, like you'll run into the occasional rogue team. Rogue with Shaman can kite around pillars, tombs, and arena. Not the best, but not the worst. Yeah. Rogue is just extremely powerful, man. It's like a class and a half. You can basically, you have insane pressure. You have mortal strike, essentially. Like you have like healing reduction. You have, you do insane damage. And it's sticky damage because you have the mortal strike. You have insane control. You have the ability to 1v1 pretty much everybody if it gets down to that situation. Right? What else is good about Rogue? I mean, pretty much have perma kick. Not kick, but you have perma interrupt with deadly throw, gouge, kick. So the class is just nuts when you break it down on paper. You have insane mobility, right? You have double step. You have insane cooldowns because you have prep. Right, you basically have 2 sets of cooldowns. You're literally stealth, which impacts the opener a lot because just getting a favorite opener is impactful. You really just break it down on paper. Rogues are just so nasty. Yeah, I go back and forth between the Void and the Suck, but just right now these things aren't really that strong. So it's not a big deal. A little bit low. Prep's been nerfed a bit. Can't blind 2 times at prep. Yeah, true. But I mean that would be busted if you could blind 2 times. The thing is, I mean, blind is already. Who am I at the end of the day? So take everything with a grain of salt. But for whatever it's worth, old classic Andy's perspective on this, I do think blind is the most powerful spell in all of Arena. Trying to think of one that's on the same tier. I can't think of one. It literally just blind almost always forces a trinket because there's this threat of sap off of it. It's less than the PvP trinket cooldown, so it's like it's a setup for a kill in and of itself, just the nature of the ability. It's instant. One of the bad things is it has 25% chance to miss apparently, which actually really does suck, but still, I don't know of an ability that can accomplish more than blind. Yeah, exactly. I see. I just can't think of one. Like, what would it really be? What would be number 2? What would be that? It has to be. Just think about it this way. It has to be an ability in the arena that increases your chance to like polymorph, maybe. But I mean, it's just it has to like really increase your chance to win. I mean, it has to be a CC, right? Be Cyclone. I don't know. Cyclone would be up there, but not blind, man. Blind just instant. Yo, Fitched with the 5 tier 1 subs, man. Holy shit. Been supporting me so much recently and the whole squad. Thank you very much, Fitch, man. Hope you're having a great weekend. 25% chance to miss is from evasion, by the way. It's not default. Oh. Oh, I thought it was just just inherent 25% chance to miss. Rogues always complain about it. It's because you're blinding rogues so often that there's a 25% chance to miss. Yeah, blind is physical abuse. Well, that is one thing you can bop off a blind, right? That is pretty cool. Mortal Strike, true, but everybody, I mean, not everybody, but there's multiple Mortal Strikes going around. Hunters have Mortal Strike, Warriors have Mortal Strike, Rogues have Mortal Strike, but you're right, Mortal Strike is the best out of all the Mortal Strike things, right? Because it's instant, short cooldown. I mean, you're gonna have like a pretty much 100% uptime on that. Hunter, I have to cock back a big aim shot, 3-second cast. That's super hard to do in the arena. Rogues have to work their way up there with wound poisoning. It can be removed. Mortal Strike definitely is the best at doing that. Psychic Scream, yo, that's a really good, yeah, that's a good one too. Psychic Scream is huge. Yeah, I always was so jelly of Priest, the fact that their CC is kind of like so straightforward, right? Short-ish cooldown, instant. You kind of just do a few things, you move around, you maneuver, use a few globals, and then, okay, Psychic Scream's back up again. Let me just get in range, go ahead and press this button here. Doesn't break on damage. Well, can it break on damage though? It's not like it's impossible to break on damage, right? Like, does it literally always go the full time? What if you pyroblast somebody with a Psychic Scream and break it? It's like a fear. The interesting thing is the warrior fear can't be dispelled, right? Or you know, it's like a physical. So that's like the word. If you think about it, that's why Wotif is just so good in the arena. I mean, think about all the meta classes and how many fears there are. Psychic Scream, Fading Shout, Warlocks spamming fear every second, you know. Optics can break sphere, yeah. I've had Priest Fears break on Endless from rank 1 Frostbow. Yeah, so it's like the Warlock Fear, you know. Direct damage has a much higher chance of breaking it. Dots, you know, that was one thing that Spank helped me out on, right? So I'd have my Fell Hunter oftentimes on the Fear target because it was on like a Druid or something. This is one thing, yo, if there's any Warlocks out here, I'm giving you this hard-hitting info directly from Spank TBC. There's another thing he told us to do. As a Warlock, you have like a intuition, or what was it? It's intuitive to just want to multi-dot everything, right? Even when you're playing like DPL, because that's specifically what we were talking about in this situation. When I did this 4-hour lesson, this multi-class, multi-rank run, pretty much as big brain as you get, very respected in the TBC community, Spank TBC. He was saying, like, if you, first of all, fearing a rogue, hard casting a fear in the rogue's face is better than how it feels for the Warlock. Because I was telling him, man, I feel like I can't get a fear off on a rogue, man. They just have the ability to just always kick it, always interrupt it. It doesn't feel worth it a lot of times, so I just ignore them. They're undead. They have Wotif. They can vanish it. Like, why am I even gonna bother? He was like, that's how it feels from your perspective. You have to understand how it feels from the rogue perspective. And until you play rogue, you don't understand that fully. From the rogue perspective, their butthole is puckered, bro. Every time you're casting fear, like, they can't do their PvE rotation. They're sweating a little bit. Their damage is being mitigated by you spamming fear on their face. And that getting that fear off is super important on the rogue. Even if it is undead, you kind of just sit there until you connect with the fear. And he was even saying, don't dot the rogue at all. Because you need that first fear to go max duration, right? So, you know, dots can break the fear, and oftentimes it's really important that you get that full DR, right? Because for a couple different reasons. If a fear goes full duration or whatever, you can sap off it. You can, you know, it's just important. Like, as a Warlock, that might be your only hope to, like, get a rogue off you for a little bit, right? To maybe have the crippling drop off you. for you to be able to get away, for them to eat an X rank fear or something. I don't know if that helps anybody, but it was an interesting thing where like how you feel about using an ability is different from how the other class feels about it. What are we listening to? Landscape music? It's Age of Empires 2 music. Looks like a transmog setup under tune. Thanks, man. End up in a 1v1 in the arena, you versus a priest. Which spec are you most concerned by? No questions asked. Unless the priest is really ahead and has cooldowns, I feel like I win 90% of the time. As a warlock, yeah. I mean, you can prevent them from drinking, and you can drink, right? So you have like that advantage. Also, you have mana drain. They have mana drain, but you can tap, right? They have no ability to tap. Once you get that priest down to no mana, like they're pretty much just gonna win and die. So you generally feel pretty good as a warlock. But there are situations where, you know, you're trying to drain a priest, and then out of nowhere they have you don't realize they have Shadow Fiend up. They pop Shadow Fiend. The Shadow Fiend does a lot of damage. You're getting mana back. Your whole like line of play to drain their mana is now null and void, and you have to kill them, and now you're in really bad shape. And you know, you can lose 1v1s.
Hi, how are you?
I think you're a favored girl.
You have a great day now.
Bro, the AoE soundtrack though? Yeah, man. Another amazing game. Is it just the main theme? Yeah, it's just the main theme. Age of Empires 2 soundtrack full. Does gifting a sub give you all the donation? I think Twitch takes half. That's generally how it works. Dangerous? Thanks, though. Great tip. Thanks, man. That's Spank's tip. What are the hardcore rules? Here, let me help you out, Noble. Here's our community website. Anybody at all wants to get involved. I feel like a good amount of people know about it now, but I mean, you can't tell me this website doesn't look beautiful. Shout out to Brandon Media for making it. There's a leaderboard here. There's an add-on. We'd like to think it's as legit as you can get without Blizzard support, you know. This game mode. There's a Hall of Legends. You can look at different achievements to like enhance your run, give you a little bit of flair. There's merch. There's stream assets there if you want to customize your stream, and you know, anything you see on the stream right now, if you like it, you know, the logo, the cam frame, literally everything is in the Discord. Just totally free for everybody to use on their streams and stuff. I think you'll hit 60 by your BlizzCon target. It's not looking likely. So I'll do my best, but it's not looking likely. You know, we have, what, 5 days or something until it's there, and I still have 14 levels to go, and I need to prepare for BlizzCon line and set up the viewing party and all that. Yeah, it's not looking likely. But even if we can ding by, like, the end of BlizzCon or a day or two after, Yo, what's up, Skycorp? Good to see you, man.
McGraw.
Alright, let's fly to Feralus.
Be safe.
You try solo ZF. I know you can do it technically, but I don't have really experience doing it. And I want to get this guy to 60, man. Yeah, I mean, I'm all for making content with a capital K and 3 C's at the end, but this guy, we need him at 60 for the efficiency. Love the hardcore badge in the top left. To be honest, it's sick. Thanks, man. Yeah, that's Brandung Media for you right there. It looks like a proper WoW expansion, I'd like to think. Right? He's not just a designer, he's an artist, man. He drew that whole frame by hand, you know, colored it in, shaded it. It's a nice looking emblem, man. I'd like to think it holds its own even with like the real WoW logos. When is TBC coming out? No one knows, but everybody is holding their breath for the 19th. That's when BlizzCon Online starts, and they'll likely announce TBC then. Better than pure WoW logos. Community made, 100% organic, grassroots, is coming together. Oh, you love to see. Does Stoneform make a big difference in the English rogues? Yeah, it does. It does. Poisons are really like a big deal, whether it's crippling to slow you. I mean, Shiv is one of the best tools the rogues have. They love their Shiv. You know, wound poison, mind numbing a lot of the times too. You know, mind numbing is so annoying. I feel like that's the most underrated poison. You know, I play some druid. I've been practicing some R druid as well. And just the fact that if a rogue uses mind numbing on you, like the good rogues use mind numbing on you, like you basically can't cyclone them anymore. Like you war stomp, you try to cyclone them, you can't do it in time. And it's so annoying, man. Mind numbing is so strong. I mean, you can't be a dwarf druid, right? But I'm just saying, rogues will notice that you're a dwarf 100%, and they might even change their strategy. They may kill another person. They may try to pivot and do something different just because you're a dwarf. Whether you're a dwarf priest, a dwarf hunter, it's really nasty too, because if a rogue opens up on a hunter, the hunter really has no shot of killing that rogue solo. It'll be really tough, but they'll have a much better chance and at least be able to create some space if they can stone form within a frost trap. Frost trap is the one where they just blanket the ground with that slow. So normally the rogue would just have crippling up on the hunter and he can't escape from the rogue. And there's a frost trap, but they kind of like balance each other out, right? But if the rogue opens up on the hunter on the frost trap and he stone forms, he's effectively like blessing and freedoming himself. And he's able to just run around his stone trap, kite, do whatever he needs to do. And the rogue is just perma-slowed in that frost trap. So it feels really good on hunter, priest. Hunter, priest. I mean, you could go a dwarf rogue, wouldn't be really horrible, but at the same time, so much better to go like human. I'm trying to think of another class that dwarf is really good on. Warrior? Dwarf warrior? Dwarf warrior seems fine. Yeah, dwarf warrior, dwarf priest, dwarf hunter. The amount of rogues in TPC Classic will be nowhere near the amount on Endless. Maybe in later seasons when people will level their old warrior and rogue mages belts. Oh man, I know. I'm excited for it too. Less undead and less rogues. I'll have a rogue partner myself, but the fact that we'll run into less of them will be great. Oh, nice. So we're starting that chain with the music now. This is the Will of the Mountain Giant chain. Wow, look at this RP he's doing. I can't ever remember seeing a dwarf warrior. Yeah, I mean, Gnome is for sure like better, right? Like ask the top warriors, they'll tell you that Gnome is probably their pick overall, but on the horde, you know, it's a bit different. You can go Orc or Tauren. Gnome seems like by most people to be the best warrior race for PvP, but
Greetings, well met.
I still don't think Stoneform would be bad for a warrior. A lot of times you'll have the rogue fighting the warriors fighting the rogue, and just being able to drop the poison that bleeds. Yeah. Less rogue, sure, but less undead. Yeah, less undead, because people care, honestly. I think people care about PvE. Well, what do you guys think? I mean, no one knows. No one knows the answer to this. Generally speaking, people care more about PvE. My gut kind of says yes. TBC Classic could be different, or it could be the same. I went into Classic WoW thinking that it was about half-half. It ended up being 90-10 or something. I think people cared way more about the PvE Classic. There were some people that got rank 14 and stuff, but I don't know. Was the pre-made PvP competitive meta really like fleshed out, and did people really love watching it and participating in it? I don't know. It seems like the most successful PvP event or series or whatever from Classic was CDL. I mean, remember Blizzard did that like summer bowl or whatever, but it seemed like people were really hating on it. Like they thought it was like kind of a joke. That could just be me though. Have you seen the rewards for this chain in TBC? Becomes blue items. Oh wow. Congratulations on the baby girl carvers. Have a Guinness on me. Yo, thanks, man. Did you, oh, Dangerous, bro. Thank you very much. 2 0-1 subs, my friend. I really do appreciate it, man. Don't have that many troll mages. They're better in PvP. Oh, we had Jigsaw on our mage deep dive. He's a big brain mage player. Rank I think he's ranked 1, right? I see. I don't know. At one point in time, he's like really respected. He was talking actually about how Troll is a great, medium. If you want a PvE and PvP, like that Troll Mage can really put out a ton of damage. He wasn't laughing at Trolls as hard as I might have thought. Like Undead for sure is going to be better PvP, but no, a Troll Mage can really put out some hurt. PvC arenas will boost the PvP percentage though, for sure. For sure, and Classic doesn't have any arenas. Yeah, Jigsaw's really good. I've never talked to him personally, so I don't know anything about his user experience. Gotcha. What do you think about an Orc rogue? Think about leveling either an Orc or Undead rogue in TVC. You're already not going to be towards the top of the meters as a rogue anyway on PvE, so you'd be you go Orc to like be better in PvE, right? And also just aesthetically, you look better than an Undead rogue. I know it's not a bit biased. I love Orcs. So there's the aesthetic advantage. Also, if you do get the Warglaives, they're gonna look way chunkier. Be awesome. But you'd roll Orc Rogue for the PvE advantage. So if you want that, I mean, if you're gonna do a lot of PvE, then maybe you could be like the underdog and surprise people with pretty decent rogue DPS. That'd be pretty fun. And at the end of the day, you should really only try to compete against other people who are of your class and faction, ideally, right? As opposed to like you're not gonna try to like. It's like comparing a warrior parse to a hunter parse in class. It's an apple. It's not even an apple annoying. It's like a watermelon and a durian. It's just so different. And Shadowguard Troll Priest ratio good in PvP. Shadowguard's good, but I think that the main one that really shines more so in TBC than in Classic is Classic is World of Consumables. You can just bring like 9 million different items and stuff to the table. Everything goes, so it kind of gets drowned out how good it is. But in TBC, the Hex of Weakness, the 20% Mortal Strength.
On this side of the fence, Crix, my man. Special Mage. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of The Dark Portal. We are very excited to be here with you today. We hope to bring you some entertaining and some valuable insight into the Mage class. So today we will be focused on the Mage, how it is in TBC. If you guys have questions, there's a lot of maybe misconceptions about the Mage. We'll be going over the PvE side of things, the PvP side of things. We'll be fielding some of your questions in the audience, going over really as much as we can in this limited time frame. So we are joined today by two very special guests, two extremely big brain German mages. They're going to give it to us straight. We have Jigsaw and my man Riddle. How you guys doing?
Fine, man. It's
Yeah,
all great. Nice to be here.
Yep, thanks for the invitation.
Yeah, no, it's the pleasure's all over on this side of the fence. Crix, my man. A few days later, we're doing two weeks. 2 weeks. How you feeling today, my friend?
Feeling fucking great, bud. How you doing, man? I'm ready to learn about these mages that I hate, but I love at the same time.
Same. Even if you're not playing Mage, it's still extremely valuable to learn how all the classes work. It will make whatever class you are maining or decide to end up playing, will make you just a much better player, knowing what tools the other classes have to play with. So, we're just going to hop right into it. A lot to go over, straight to the point. We're going right into the agenda. Here it is. Guest intros will be the first thing that we get done. So, apologies in advance, Riddle and Jigsaw. We put our guests through a little bit of cringe just to warm them up to the audience. They can get to know them a little bit. Jigsaw, let's start with you, man. Could you be so kind to tell us your history with the game, like when you started playing, and maybe some of your accolades or things that you're proud of playing on private servers or retail? Let's start there.
Sure. Okay, yes, I'm playing World of Warcraft since the end of the classic retail, back in the days, like I don't know how many years it was ago, like 8 years ago I think, or 9 years even. I don't know exactly. I started to play Mage at the early TBC release. Was mostly doing PvE there, and was not much the PvP Mage. I didn't like Arena that much because I was like getting pumped all the time, losing the most games, and yeah, I had not that much fun in Arena. And I switched to Warrior then in the middle of TBC, like Season 3, Season 4. I switched to Warrior and started to improving my Arena skills there. But was not reaching any title or something. And at the start of War of the Lich King, I was going literally ham in the arena, quitting my real life, like everyone was doing at this time. And yeah, I was like pumping with Mage, some 3s, RMP, and reaching my first really high rating. Soon I reached my first Gladiator title, and yeah, then I continued the full content of War of the Lich King, played every season on Mage, a bit of Warrior, but yeah, mostly Mage in the higher brackets. I played always 2 mages, like one on Horde, one on Alliance side, because I had multiple mates I wanted to play with, multiple comps I wanted to play with. And yeah, that's then I played Cataclysman at the next. I played the first 2 seasons there, also Mage, and was pretty good. RMP was very strong in that time. I remember that. And then I stopped because I had no more time in real life. I was working, and yeah, it was not the best moment for continuing to get high rating in the arena and put so much effort in it. Then I made a break till what was it? Help me. Legion? Legion? Yeah, was it Legion? Yeah, it was Legion. Yeah, I came back in Legion, played the start of Legion, but it was not the same game for me anymore. And yeah, in between that time, all the time, I were playing on TBC servers the whole time. Even when War of the Lich King came out, I was on a TBC private server. I was on the Arena Tournament server from TBC on the first one we ever made. Instantly, it was, I think, in the first month when they opened, I was on there, and I always played it. So between my breaks, I always was on Burning Crusade, so I never quit that add-on. Same like War of the Lich King, I was also playing War of the Lich King very much, so, but basically my main add-on is Burning Crusade, so for Arena and for Mage.
Hell yeah,
played it
man.
like since 6 years straight.
Gladiator title under your belt, man. Congrats on that. That's huge. So you're in the presence of a gladiator here. So is Mage your class? Like, is that the class that resonates with you the most out of all of them? And if so, what is? Or if not, what is?
I don't know. Mage was always the class like you can do so much. You legit, you are a 1 versus 1 beast if you want to. You can win in the arena at the end when your mate is dying and there's nothing left, so and you still can win those games, and that was always a thing that I wanted to do. So I was never the guy who played the healer or going for PvE and going tanking. Like I did that one season, like I think in Gruul at the start of TBC I tanked with my warrior, but it was nothing for me, so I was going back to arena. And Mage was always that guy who, if you let him shatter or if you let him do his damage, it's insane. And even if you can't cast, you're doing a thing, and you're such a big person in your team. I don't know, you're always like in 3s or 2s. You're like team captain. You making the calls and you decide what to do mostly. Yeah, that was the reason why I still like Mage the most.
Oh yeah. What do you see as the biggest strength and biggest weakness of the Mage in TBC? I know it's hard to point, your finger to one thing because it's a very
the biggest strength from Mage in TBC is for sure the CC and the high burst. You have so much CC with Frost Nova, slows, Blizzard Rank 1. It's like you're slowing the whole arena if you want. So you can slow down every game if it's hard and your team needs to back up. It's like you're going for a Blizzard and putting slows everywhere, and you're going for sheeps, and you have a counter spells. Like you can literally shut down the enemy team if you want for like 4 or 5 seconds instantly. That's one of the biggest good points for the Mage. Yeah.
What about its biggest weakness? Is there any weakness that usually when people pilot a class a lot, you see the cracks in the armor and where they are, right? For you,
one of the biggest
Warlock with the pet and stuff. Yeah.
One of the biggest weakness for Mage in TBC is for sure the mana gameplay. Especially when you go against comps with warlocks or like 2 versus 2 comps, you are always hanging on your mana bar. So you literally need to watch your mana bar when you're like on 30% mana. You need to go back and get this mana bar full, because otherwise you're dying and you're losing. So that's not like in every other add-ons. Like even War of the Lich King, you have much more mana, and it was easier. It was still look at your mana, but in TBC is the mana issue maybe one of the biggest problems. And that you need to cast like in the first seasons where you have no haste. It's like you're casting very slow. You need to know when can I cast, when can I go for a shatter, or when can I do the sheep. So it's like, yeah, casting and mana. It's like the biggest issues for Mage.
Gotcha. Well, thanks for sharing that, man. Let's move on to Riddle over here. Riddle, if you could be so kind to share with the audience your history with the game, kind of just when you started playing and leading up to where we are today.
Yeah, hello everybody. I started playing WoW like after a long period of playing Warcraft 3 when it released in 2005 in Germany, and from then on I played like, yeah, I think until the add-on after Wrath of the Lich King. I think it was Cataclysm. But then I started disliking the game. But for me personally, like TBC was really the best add-on of WoW. Like I feel like Wrath of the Lich King was still okay, but it lost the spirit there. And yeah, then I couldn't stand the new game any longer, the retail versions, and I went to private servers, starting on Phoenix, and yeah, from then on I played on Phoenix, on some German private server, Nostalrius, I think every big server I played on. And yeah, 2 years ago I think I found my interest for TBC again and joined on the Gummy TBC server, which unfortunately closed very soon after I started playing there. And then I waited for the Netherwing release, which was really, really nice, except for the sanitizing start, if you know what I mean. They had some server issues and put on a sanitizer, and it was a really funny lag fest. But after that, the server was really flawless, well scripted, and I played Arcane Mage there, and it was really, really, really fun. And especially my guild on that server, Memory, I don't know if that rings a bell for some of you, was also a really, really nice community, and right now I'm playing Classic with them in preparation for Classic QC on Sandala Tribe in the guild Praxis.
Very nice. Thank you for sharing. Do you have a favorite and least favorite aspect of the Mage class?
Yeah, the favorite is like, it's so versatile, you can do so many things. You can do good solo farming, you're decent in PvE, in PvP, and you also, if you really want to be good, you have to think a lot about your gameplay. It's very detailed things that some people think of as minor things, but these are the things that really make a good player. And if you do many small things very good, then the total outcome will be a good performance. And what I dislike, obviously, in TBC is the mana. Like it was previously said by Chicks, it's just crazy, you have to manage your mana. It can be rough sometimes, but on the other side, it's also, especially in PvE, it's a really good challenge that makes the class more fun.
So, this is really cool, guys. We have, it seems like from the looks of it, Jigsaw's more on the PvP side. I'm sure you know both of you guys do both, but and then we have a top tier memory player, so like on the PvE side, right? So we're kind of just representing both ends of the spectrum here. So that's awesome. Okay, let's get right into it. So, did you guys play Classic much? You said you're currently playing it, Riddle. How about you, Jigsaw?
Yeah, been playing it almost every content tier, and yeah, Jigsaw, how about you?
I'm not the kind of Classic Mage, because my main goal is the arena. I'm playing the game mainly for arena, and in classic, unfortunately, there is no arena, and that's the reason why I leveled one mage at the start of classic, because everyone did it, and I played with some real life friends, and it was fun. But now I'm leveling 2 mages on classic for TBC retail for the release. If they make it like the server change where you can transfer your character on a TBC server. And I want to play 2 mages in TBC retail, and that's why I'm leveling at the moment, but I'm not really playing it. I did no PvE content and was not going for like this BG groups or going for a title or something.
But you have your hands on it, right? So you see how the class is in vanilla in terms of just like what spells you have. So our first real talking point here is class changes. Like, just open floor chat, get involved here too. People out in the audience, like, what do you guys all think collectively are the biggest changes from the vanilla mage moving in the TBC? Think specs, think talents, think playstyle, mana, everything. Anybody want to start?
Yeah, I think the biggest change is the arcane tree, going from totally useless to one of the most amazing PvE specs. And I think the class gets more mobility. Like right now it's rather static. You choose one position where you can cast as much as possible on the boss or on the target and move as little as possible. And in TBC it starts to become more dynamic, like with haste and faster casts and cooldowns, and you can really pump hard in one phase. And it's not like now it's just you always pump average, and in TBC you will have really high burst phases.
I see. Which is good news, I think, for a lot of people. A lot of people love the idea, the flavor of being an arcane mage so much. So to see that arcane get some love in TBC, and we'll get into like why that is, like what changes about it to make it so good. But there is I don't want to say it's a misconception. You guys have heard it out in the audience, right? People say mages suck in TBC, or like they at least come down a little bit in terms of power level. Like you have one slot for a mage, and they're behind the hunters and the warlocks, and you know they're not what they were in classic. Is there truth to this, or do you think this is straight up like how did that rumor, misconception even form? And yeah, let's see if you guys have any thoughts on that.
I can only speak there for the PvP thing, and that's totally not true. In TBC, like, Mage is one of the best arena classes you can play, or even if you wanna only go for BGs or dueling, it's like you're insanely strong, you have the best comps. Every BG group needs multiple mages. They're not even that you can go with one mages, they're always taking 2 or 3 because the burst is that high. I mean, you have a pet, like with a pet Nova, you don't even need to cast that much anymore. You're doing like, in Classic you always need to go for, like, if you want to shatter, you're going for Frostbolts and Cone of Cold it for the Frostbolt Cone of Cold shatter. And in TBC it's like, you literally can go for Ice Lances. It sounds stupid to only spam one task and doing big damage, but yeah, you're insane with that. So if you know how to do it and when the right moment is to go for it, then yeah, you're one of the best PvP classes, I would say.
And it sure feels that way playing against them, doesn't it, Crix? Going up against a mage, like they seem as high-paced, like fast. You know how Rogue is just super high energy, just APM all over the place. They look like they're moving at light speed, just spamming cooldowns. Like you have that same feeling fighting a mage, and a good mage will just toss you over in one friggin' second. It feels like they just, yeah. Anyway, what do you have anything on this, Riddle?
Yeah, definitely for PvE. I think the mage position doesn't change too much, because in Classic they are also like maybe the best caster class, but not the best overall DPS, because warriors are such a good DPS class and rogues. And in TBC there's also 2 other classes that you already mentioned, the hunter and the warlock, which are really strong as well. And I wouldn't say you can't run multiple mages, because most of the guilds, if we are honest, are pretty casual, and it will really not be make or break, like if you can kill the boss or not, if you bring 5 mages. So it is not the optimal setup, the optimal setup will have no or one mage for PvE, but you can definitely clear the content with multiple mages.
I see. Would you say on the PvE side, because I think most people, if I had to guess, I don't know, chat, what do you think? You think most people in TBC will be doing PvE or more interested in TBC? I'm hoping the arena's pretty damn popular too, but let's just say it's 50-50 for like, do you see Mage in the top 5 spots, like sort of damage dealing? Well, that matters to people, right? Like, they want to play a class that can perform and do quite well. Crix, maybe, you might have a thought on this. Like, Crix is going to give it to me straight. Like, he knows who the pumpers are. He's a warlock, so he's probably going to be biased against mages. How do you feel about mages in PvE, man? Do they pump? And at different stages, like Kara, tier 4, tier 5, tier 6, you're clearing out Sunwell now. What are your thoughts on it?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So when I started on private servers last year, I asked around like, oh, how good are mages? And everybody told me mages were ass. Like, they're garbage. Like, literally, like, they're not going to see them on the meter. So I went in there expecting that. And of course, you know, they're not. They're actually pumped extremely hard. I've seen fire mages in full spell fire, T4 Prebis keeping up with me, full Prebis. I've seen arcane mages T5 beating warlocks. Arcane mages they're catching up to the hunters. And this is on Overtune private servers with long fights. I can only imagine on short fights how much better arcane mages are going to be, right? And in T6, they did fine until we hit to Sunwell. And now in Sunwell, like the last raid of the expansion, now mages are kind of starting to fall off a little bit. But it took them that long to fall off. And by fall off, I still mean they're still beating all the melee. Or I mean, kind of trading. Okay, up until Sunwell, they seem like they're super pumpers. Ultra pumpers.
Even in Karazhan, like, I'm talking fresh server. How hard are they pumping? Do you ever see them at the top? Like top?
Yeah, so as Frost Mage with Frozen Shadow Weave, no. They don't see them because if there's a Warlock and a Hunter in there, no. But I was in memory with the same as Riddle's Guild. That's how I met him. And the Spellfire Fire Mage was dumpster firing me, and I'm full tailored Warlock in Karazhan. And I was like, oh shit, I didn't know mages were this good. And that's when I got introduced to, you know, a good mage. Once you see a good mage, you'll realize that mages are really good. But if you see an average mage or a mage that's not really putting the effort out to be a good mage, because like I said, it is managing your mana and it's a lot about your stats and your int and everything else and getting innervates and shadow priests and everything. And if you have that to fit you, they ultra pump, bro.
They ultra pump. Okay.
So it's impressive. It's impressive. It's impressive.
So I'm going to bring something up, these logs, and I'm not the best at navigating logs, but I thought the chat might want to see it because you guys have heard this, right, chat? Like that mages aren't so good on the PvE thing. I don't know where I heard it at some point and kind of believed it because I didn't know what else to think. I think hunters, mages are at the top. But let me try to pull these logs up. While I'm doing this, Riddle, you're on this side of things. Like, how do you feel about the specs in PvE and sort of as the server unfolds? You know, are they stronger early? Are they stronger late? Is it Frost? Is it Arcane? The top spec. There's so much to unpack here that it's kind of almost overwhelming to know where to start. But let's assume early, like phase 1 TBC Classic. How are mages doing on the PvE side of things?
Phase 1, they will definitely be decent, maybe a little bit behind warlocks and maybe a little bit behind hunters, but they will still pump enough to not justify that to say that they are bad. In tier 5, when they get the 2 set of the tier 5 set, they get super strong and will beat almost everybody else. And tier 6, which is also the middle of the content road, they are still pretty good, but can be out DPS'd in some fights. And in Sunwell, as Crick said, they start to fall a little bit behind. But the main point why Mage is strong is their overall DPS. Like, if you only look at some bosses, there are certainly encounters which are not tailored for mages, but benefit, like class stacking, Bloodlust stacking, that's a 30% cast speed buff on hunters or on warlocks. And if you give hunters and warlocks this buff for the whole raid or for the whole fight, they will pump super hard and nobody else will catch up. But speaking in overall damage, like on bosses and trash, mages absolutely destroy until late tier 6.
Until late tier 6. Okay, so it's interesting you say that, and I want to hang on to this point for a second. Yo, Kraken, by the way, thank you for the monstrous donation. That is very kind of you. So you've heard of an AoE cap, right, chat? You've heard this term thrown out. A lot of people don't quite fully understand it. I forgot the exact value, but I think it's like 10 or 15, right, or something like that. Does anybody No.
Yeah. It's like 10k, and crits can exceed this cap.
10k? What do you mean by 10k? I thought it was an amount of targets, like a spell.
Yeah.
Amount of targets.
It caps out at 10,000 damage before critting, and if you have like 20 targets and you manage to deal 10,000 damage, it will cap out, and it will also cap out at 50 targets.
So does this? Some people might think, for the people one-pulling Maradon, for the people doing ZF farms and farming all this Golden Classic, being this powerhouse, is their dream of AoEing stuff down in TBC dead? It seems like maybe not if you're saying you're doing well on trash.
Yes, totally, it's dead. I mean, you can still pull it, and the kill phase will take forever, because you pull 500 mobs, and it will just take 15 minutes to kill mobs.
I see. So you can still do it. It's just you're gonna deal no damage, and it's gonna take forever.
Yeah, your blizzard will tick for like 2 or 3 damage if you pull that many mobs.
I see. But so how did they do so well on trash then? How are they able to keep up with even warlocks and stuff? Are warlocks the king of AoE in TBC, you'd say, or do you think?
Oh, Griggs is listening. I think warlocks are pretty strong, but their downside is threat, and mages can just start early because they have so little threat from talents in the arcane tree, so they can start blasting arcane explosion like 5 seconds earlier, and by that time, by those 5 seconds, they will already have such a big lead on the DPS that the warlocks need a very long time to catch up.
I see.
I feel like from the other side, I feel like mages every 3 minutes super pump trash. And then also we forgot to mention, you literally need a mage and sometimes 2 mages for trash, because they have to CC a bunch of shit. They're in charge of CCing everything.
In what respect? Just slowing it with the
dude, raid trash and TBC is about CCing. It's not about group. Even on speed runs, I doubt you will be able to. You will be able to, but I doubt you're going to be able to every fucking raid tier go in there and pull up all the trash, just seed it down. You're not going to be able to do that. You're going to have to CC. There's a lot of ads and they get the CC out of it, which is what a mage does, because they have the best CC in the game.
Does Blizzard have a base slow in TBC, or is it still talented?
Talent.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. And then also Ice Block is base in TBC, right? So you don't have to get it in talents, which is huge. I mean, that's a threat dump too, right? I mean, if you just go full Zug, you can just block it and be fine.
That's only a temporary threat dump, but if you want to have a complete threat dump, you can use the new invisibility ability.
That's right. That's a huge class change. Mages get invis, and they get a pet, guys. I know this sounds kind of basic, but some of you might be forgetting. They get a pet, water elemental. I played a mage for a bit back in TBC and was stoked to have this pet. It can drop a Nova at range. I forgot exactly how long it stays up, but it's I don't know. What is it, like a 50% uptime overall, or maybe 30% uptime? It's 3-minute cooldown.
Well, you get 2 of them, by the way, because of the cold snap.
Yeah. With
for 45 seconds, you have the water elemental.
Yeah.
So it can be 50% uptime on short fights.
On short fights, yeah. The cool thing about the water elemental, I don't know if it's overtuned on private servers, but it freaking pumps, dude. Like, it hits for 800. I don't know if that's gonna be the case. I mean, do you think it's gonna hit that hard back in real TBC? I mean, the thing is insane.
I hope not. I hope not.
Yeah.
Because it adds elemental. That's what I was talking. It adds a whole elemental. Speaking from a warlock perspective, I usually don't have to banish that thing. Now I have to banish all the time because that thing pumps.
No, it really does. It really does.
Yeah, what do you need to say about that? It's like different on every private server you played there. It was like the water elemental was hitting different. Like on Endless, it's pretty high, I would say.
Henhouse, it feels super high.
It's same on Henhouse. It's same on Henhouse. Okay. Henhouse, Motorforge, and Endless, the water elemental is hitting pretty high. On Netherwing, it was not that high. I'm Karazhan, I have no mage there, I don't know it, but it was also back in the days on other private servers like Phoenix was warmer and the elemental was not hitting that high.
I see. Now, I have these logs up, and I suck at understanding how to navigate this particular site. Legacy players, I just, for the life of me, can't.
It's weird.
It's weird compared to Warcraft logs, right?
Yeah, it's sus.
I went here, I hit raids, I sorted by TBC, Karazhan, SSC, TK, just to see what was going to pop up, because this is the best I could do. And I'm seeing some boys in blue up there, man. I mean, even this is Karazhan, the number 2 guy is half in Karazhan doing 1131 DPS. I don't know if this is overall or how they calculate this.
That looks weird. Well, not everybody logs, by the way. You have to choose the logs, just like WoW logs. But these right here, like these, what you're seeing, these warlocks, all those warlocks, I know those warlocks. Those are top warlocks.
Those are top
like
warlocks.
Big brain.
Wolfgar.
Yeah, Wolfgar. Yeah, those are big brain warlocks.
So, and then people always talk about tier 5 set bonus with Arcane. And so this is SSC, and you see Horvik here at the very top.
Yeah, Horvik is a good player and the best guild, so
yep.
He obviously pumps.
He obviously pumps.
And I think I don't know if it's still on Karazhan, but on Netherwing he even got some group support, which is usually never the case because people tend to dump arcane mages into healer groups, which is a big mistake, by the way.
Okay.
SSC. Well, also SSC is kind of a weird judgment, I feel like, because that's not really one where hunters have a lot of shit they gotta handle. They don't really just be able to stand there free and pump. Like if you look at Lady Vag, they're not just sitting there pumping the whole time. They're dealing with the elementals and the tainted cores and stuff. Yeah. Because normally, like if this was just like a straight single target, if there's a way to go to a straight single target boss, I swear I bet you'd be hunter, mage, warlock.
I see.
Yeah.
So is the general progression with because you know how in classic mages went frost kind of phase 1, I think, right, and then they eventually, well, it just stayed frost and then it went fire come AQ, and then I think there's still fire. I don't think there was never any moment for arcane. But is it like you start frost and then tier 5 go arcane and then go fire sunwell? Is that how it works in DBC?
Like in the start you can go basically you can go any spec. It depends on your mana support. Like you can go Arcane Frost in the start, you can go Frost, that's the least mana consuming spec. And if you if you have good gear and good mana support, you can also go Fire. And I think in tier 4 in the start, Fire is the best spec for on average, and Arcane is second, I think, and Frost is third. But the difference is not so big.
I see. Out of personal curiosity too, so the Arcane Mage, they just spam Arcane Blast, right? And then the flavor of Arcane Blast is it keeps costing more but dealing more damage, so you're spending man, it's such a premium, but you're doing insane damage. In theory, if you pumped every like Innervate, PI, everything into an Arcane Mage, what would happen? Like would it be so nasty? Like would they be top DPS by a lot?
Yes, until late tier 6.
That sounds pretty damn cool, right? Like you just mana is power as a mage, you know, and just.
Yeah, I mean, what are you gonna do with the cooldowns anyways? Like even on the buffed private service, the healers will most likely not run if they use consumables. And for classic TBC, which should be significantly easier, the innovates are just free damage if you use them on mages. And if you use them on healers, it's basically an excuse to not use consumables.
I see. So you have a good shot of actually getting the. Well, does it do more for a mage than a warlock though? I feel like Crick should have something to say about this. Like, is the Innervate going, and Pet PI? Who's that going to?
I don't need no Innervate.
True. What about PI?
Fights, yeah, PI would be dope. For a warlock, we can tap, and there's enough movements in these fights. It's not classic where you're holding still. There's enough movements where you can get a few taps in with moving, so you don't have to worry about that. But
yeah,
the mages need it. Give it to the mages, baby. I don't need that.
Okay.
I'll pump without it. What's up?
All right. That's
no,
pretty
but
cool.
PI would be nice. PI would be nice.
Could you go arcane throughout the whole thing? You know, like tier 4 all the way up, or would it be kind of bad? Like, why would it be bad to start if it is?
It would be bad because in the start you will have a hard time in Karazhan with mana support. But then on the other hand you can also do some Arcane Blast rotations, like you cast a few Arcane Blasts, then you cast a few Frostbolts, and that will make your average DPS go up, but your mana consumption will not be as high. So I personally will go Arcane from the start. That's also much easier to gear. You don't need like the infamous Spell Strike set. You can go with Spellfire only. So that's definitely something for people who are a little bit more lazier, or don't want to jump on all the Bliss loot and take a relaxed approach to gearing.
I see. Crix, you said something the other day that really stuck out to me. I still remember it when you said it, and it was some people in your chat were saying this too, and I'm just curious because I never actually asked you why this is. So chat, if somebody asks you what are the top 3 DPS classes in TBC in what order, generally speaking, right? Like, of course, that's too simple of a question, but most people are going to say Hunter, Warlock, and then maybe Mage, right? Some people like would say Mage. So these people in his chat, and Crix was kind of like even nodding his head a bit, was saying that it's actually Hunter, Mage, then Warlock. You're telling me that Mage can pump harder than Warlock?
It depends. I think it depends. Well, it depends on what is the Mage getting. I've been outpumped by a Mage. They got double Shadow Priest. You know what I mean? Is the Mage getting interface? Is the Mage getting? What are they getting? What is the Mage getting, and what is the Warlock getting? Am I in my Warlock group with the Boomy and Ellie and getting chained lust like normally, or is the Mage getting double Shadow Priest interface and he's getting lusted? It depends.
But Warlocks are known as the legendary DPS class in TBC. Like, this is a whole new beast. If you're telling me it's that close that a Mage can,
it's close. Yes, it is close. I think it's close. I could be speaking Riddle. You can say whatever you think. I think it's close the whole fucking time until Sunwell, and then at Sunwell you significantly see Mages fall off. But T4 T4 where it's like Hunters are kind of like in their own fucking genre pretty much, you know what I mean? They're just kind of they're just broken, you know what I mean? But outside of that, you got Warlocks and Mages tit for tat. A good Warlock and a good Mage equally geared, getting what they're supposed to have in their groups, they're going tit for tat. Go Sunwell.
I also think it hugely depends on group setup and mana support, and what Crick said with multiple lusts and warlocks. I mean, those logs you never can compare, like a log who gets 3 bloodlusts in a fight to a mage who gets 0. That's just, and that's where those crazy numbers from the legacy players' sides are also coming from.
I see. Okay, well, hopefully this is getting something in your mind here, chat, where like some of you were sleeping on Mages, admitted, right? You were like, yeah, I think Mages kind of suck in TBC, and now you're starting to see, not only do they not suck, they're up there with Warlocks, man, and they're up there with the top DPS, and that they fall off a bit during Sunwell. Anyway, let's keep it moving though. Racials, do you guys feel, is it pretty flexible with which racial does one really stick out on the PvE side of things? And we'll talk about PvP right after with Jigsaw. On the PvE side of things, is there a significant racial advantage?
Yeah, for Horde it's definitely Troll, because Trolls have the Berserk ability, and with that's basically a free Icy Veins. It's like, I think 10 to 30% cast speed for 10 seconds or so. It's crazy because, again, as an Arcane Mage, I would say I'm an Arcane Mage friend or fanboy, but as an Arcane Mage you can put in so many spells in that time frame, and as a Fire Mage, for example, you can't, because your spells are like 3 seconds. And for Alliance, there's a debate going on between Gnome, because they got more intellect and Arcane Mages can benefit from intellect. It's basically their second best stat, or best depending on your group setup, and Human. And I personally think Human is a little bit better. There are also simulation programs.
Whoa. So Human is better?
Yeah, because they got 10% Spirit. And if you get Innovate and improve Divine Spirit from the Priest, that's actually bigger than the 5% Intellect from the Gnome ratio.
Wait. How do you get value from Spirit again other than Evocate? Is there something, I think I'm like blanked out for a second. How does the Spirit affect the Mages?
But Innovate, if you get Innovate from a Druid, then you get like 400% or 600%, I don't know the exact number, but it's huge, increased regeneration from Spirit. And if you have 10% extra Spirit, that's of course even better. And the Priests, the Discipline Priests have a talent called Improve Divine Spirit. And you usually don't bring it to raids, many people say, but in my guild we made the experience that it's decent enough for most of the raid healing to bring this priest. But that's discussion still going on.
Dude,
I think it's okay.
This is shattering my mind right now. I love it, dude.
Yeah, I know.
Human Mage, the ultimate meme of Vanilla WoW, the ultimate representation of dad gamers and stuff. I say that endearingly, but people will roast you for playing Human Mage. actually, possibly, could be better than Gnome Mage. They're all laughing right now. All of them in the chat. The lurkers. That
Yeah, it seems better.
Mage.
You can
That's
download the
hilarious.
program raw, and you will see it's a little bit better.
That's hilarious. Oh man. Oh, anyway. What about, okay, on the PvP side of things, is there... How are we doing on the ratios over there, my friend? Jigsaw, do you have a preference? Do you think any stand out as being, like, way better than others?
Human Mage,
Sure. Sure. No, not a human mage, man. For sure not.
Definitely not human mage on
That's
this.
the only race you shouldn't pick there. PvP. Yeah, so 90% of the people who play PvP and especially play Mage would say Horde side undead for sure. I would agree with that. And the most comms, especially in Arena or even in BGs, you want to play undead because of the Will of the Forsaken, who breaks the fear. It's totally huge because you're going with many double DPS comms in Arena in 2s, like Rogue Mage. You need it against like Lock Druids, even against Priest Rogues or something. They can fear you the whole time, and you want to have that Will of Forsaken to not need to use your Trinket. So, and even in 3s, like it's sparing up time because the healer don't need to dispel you because you have your Will of Forsaken, or you even can pre-will something to cast and stop the fear, and you get not interrupted with that. But on the other hand, there are some comps also for Arena where you can use like Troll Racial. It's pretty big because of the haste buff, like Will explained it. And you're casting very fast with that, and especially in Season 3 and Season 4, where mages can get haste pieces out of PvE, like from Black Temple, Hyjal and Sunwell, and even from Sulaman and from the badges. You really need to go, or want to go for haste, and that the Troll Racial comes back and some comes to be very big, like some Shadow play if you're playing with a Shadow Priest, a Restorer Shaman and a Troll Mage. You even don't need your Will of Forsaken because you have a Tremor Totem who breaks all the fears, and you have a Shadow Priest who dispels you the fears if needed. So you can go legit for more haste and go very, very fast because you have Bloodlust in the back, you have Icy Veins on. If you have a haste trinket like Mind Quicking Gem from Classic, or even if you have the Black Temple Skull of Gul'dan, you're casting like a monster. And if they let you cast, you legit can kill all 3 targets by your own.
Wow.
So that's also,
that's
if you
cool.
if you are a troll mage, or also for people who are playing like saying, yeah, okay, I want to go for PvE and I want to go for Arena too, which comms should I do? I'm telling you guys, take the best Shadow Priest out of your raid, take the best Restoration Shaman out of your raid, and form a 3 comp. It's called Shadow Play, and it's insanely
That's a hard-hitting tip right there. Somebody's gonna do that in the chat.
Also for people who are playing like saying, yeah, okay, I want to go for PvE and I want to go for Arena too, which comms should I do? I'm telling you guys, take the best Shadow Priest out of your raid, take the best Restoration Shaman out of your raid, and form a 3 comp. It's called Shadow Play, and it's insanely
That's a hard-hitting tip right there. Somebody's gonna do that in the chat, bro. Somebody's writing that down right now. Like, alrighty
all
then,
troll
know what I'm
mages
doing.
go for Shadow Play. It's really good. Even you can also play all other comps like RMP, RMD, or whatever you want. But that's a comp like where a troll mage is.
So you're not a laughing stock in the PvP community if you're a troll. You know, you're actually
no, really not. So it's maybe not that good for 2s because yeah, you want that Will Forsaken, but for 3s and even 5s. For 5s, it's also very big to be a troll. And yeah, on the Alliance side, it's a bit different because there's like only one race you should pick, and that's Gnome for the Escape Artist. And there's not.
But is that even that good for Mage though? Escape Artist? Like, are you still gonna find decent value from that if you had to play one? You think, knowing what you know about the Mage class?
Yeah, you have value from that when you play against like warriors or other mages. I mean, you can break a Frost Nora, you can break a slow, you can break a poison slow from a rogue or something. It's huge in the right moment, but
saves
it's
your
not
blink
that
too.
huge. Yeah, it's not that huge like Will of Forsaken, let's say. So yeah.
Okay.
If you're on Alliance side, go for it.
If you're on Alliance side.
Yeah. I have to say that the difference between Gnome and Human is not like groundbreaking, it's tiny. So going Gnome is totally fine.
I see.
Even for PvE.
Except for they're ugly, so don't do it.
So let's move on to the next thing. We're making good time. I think we're really focused, Cricks. I feel like we're getting a little better with each episode. It's already so much fun. We're moving on to gearing and itemization. So let's start on the PvE side of things. When it comes to gearing a mage in TBC, not all classes are created equal on the gearing front. Like I've been recently playing a hunter on Endless, right, Crix, and just getting the Beast Lord set, you know, getting your Ebon Nether scale or whatever it's called. It's a piece of cake to gear a hunter. Is it a piece of cake to gear a mage? Is it expensive? Is it cheap? Is it fun? Is it not fun? Is it the most competitive? Is it the least? All these things are racing through my mind right now. What do you have to say about gearing a mage on the PvE side of things?
They're the same as Warlocks, right? They got a lot of tailoring they got to get. Don't you guys get the same thing as Warlocks pretty much too? They got to get Spell Strike, Spellfire, or Frost Weave, right?
Yeah, you get those as unless you're Arcane. But as Arcane, you only want Spellfire, but as the rest, you also want the stuff Warlocks get, basically.
So yeah, they're expensive. They're expensive, and they still got to get leatherworking too. So.
Yeah, and it's a lot of farming, but you can do most of the stuff alone or in groups. I mean, as an Arcane Mage, it's again easier. You can get some decent blue items with intellect, spirit, spell damage, which sounds totally weird, but those are, when you put it in a simulation program, they are super close to the Spellfire set. It's absolutely crazy.
So you're saying you don't necessarily need Spellfire as much as people think you need Spellfire? Or
no,
like,
no. I would say you definitely need Spellfire. You should get it, but you don't need to focus on getting it ASAP.
I see.
So,
okay, I see. So I mean, Crix too. So I mean, gearing up a Warlock, you made it sound pretty expensive and pretty hard to get everything. So it's kind of
miserable.
In a similar boat. Like it's very expensive, more so than every other class. Or
I feel like Warlock is the most expensive, yes, because we just have to go Spell Strike, Frozen Shadow Weave, you know, Girdle, Runation. We gotta craft a lot of shit, and then leatherworking. But they do too. Mages craft the same things we do, and they gotta do leatherworking. So I guess they're the same.
And,
right?
and what about the guilds though? Like, let's say you're just on a loot console and then the trinkets and stuff drop. Warlocks, are they getting prio because they do more damage, like historically, or like that's kind of the precedent? So the mages
the trinkets in the game. The trinkets in the game are like mage specific. It's like we don't use them. Like Warlocks just go straight icon and they get their DMF trinket, while mages actually have trinkets they can get in raids. Like whatever, like Sextant, I think it's called, from Tidewalker or whatever. Mages will use that, or Shamans will use that, whoever, but Warlocks don't use that. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of the trinkets that mages use, Warlocks don't even use. We can use it, it's just not, I mean, outside of like Quag's Eye, obviously the previous one or whatever, outside of Quag's Eye, our next up is DMF. You know what I mean? Theirs is from a raid.
Yeah, mages can't use DMF, but the other trinkets you already named seem basically better or equal.
Yep. Okay. And then also they what was it? We share tokens with mages. Warlocks and mages share tokens with hunters too. But I don't think they even need T4, right? Do you even need T4? I don't think they need T4 because it gets prior to Warlocks, but they need T5, where Warlocks don't need T5. So it kind of works out. I feel like Warlocks and mages mesh pretty good together.
But wait,
I don't think it's
tier 5 they would share too, though, right? Like those classes just share for all the tokens the whole way up. So that sounds like the most competitive.
No, not the whole way up. Just so T4 and T5 you share with the same two people. Like a Warlock will have Warlock Mage Hunter, and then T6 Warlock's Pally Priest. And I don't know where mages go after that. So it's I don't know why they do that, but it switches up in T6.
But I think mages share with rogues.
Okay, yeah.
Well, I'm just saying mages, you always talk about how they need this tier 5 so bad. Is that a problem for you mages? If hunters and warlocks, like literally the most competitive?
Oh, they're proud it.
Oh,
they're proud it. Mages are proud it right away. Yep, right away.
Yeah.
And then warlocks are proud T4.
It's so big for mages that you need to be insane to prio it to any other class.
It's huge. Our mage went from like I don't know if he was optimizing min-maxing in T4 content before he got his 2-piece, but he went from like, you know, 6th, 7th, 8th on the meters to literally like first, second off of just that 2-piece, bro, or whatever the fuck the piece is. I don't even know what the piece is, 2-piece or 4-piece, whatever it is. It's really good. Witnessed it.
The 2-piece and the 4-piece are really good.
You said 2-piece. What is the two? What do they do? Can you explain what 2-piece and 4-piece do, please?
The 2-piece increases your Arcane Blast damage by 20%, which is absolutely bonkers. But it also increases the mana cost by 20%. But the point is, Arcane Blast is like it costs more mana the more you cast it, but it only applies to the base mana cost, which is low. So the 20% are basically not noticeable, or not very much. And the 4-set bonus is like 70 spell damage on a crit, and with the uptime you have from critting, it will be like 50 to 55 spell damage on average.
Okay.
What is the tier 5 set called? I'm gonna pull it up on the DB just so people can maybe even see it. This
Tiris Fall Regalia.
Tiris Fall.
Yeah, like blades. Like
Yeah, this is a legendary set, folks. Like this might be something you want to just like learn about coming into TBC.
Are you wearing that 2-piece in game in Sunwell and stuff like that too?
Definitely, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And
wait, so
also
Bis forever? If the 2-piece of this is Bis forever?
Yeah, 2-piece forever.
Wow.
Forever.
And 4-piece until Sunwell. Forever, never, ever.
Yeah, that sounds kind of chill. Just get 2-piece tier 5 and chill.
Farewell.
Nice. That's pretty nice. Okay. Well, let's move on to the PvP side of things. All right, Jigsaw. So, if you're really interested in PvP, first of all, do you need to touch PvE at all? Let's think of Arena Season 1. Let's think of just transitioning into TBC Classic. You know, we're gonna be there in a couple months most likely, right? So, wait, is that stressful? Is it painful? Is it not too bad? What do you think?
If you want to go really 100% for Arena and really want to kick off the ladder, you need to get some PvE items.
PvE items.
And the first seasons, like Season 1 and Season 2, it's like Spell is the best stat for the PvP mage. You want as much Spell as you can get. That your Ice Lances and your Frostbolts and all of your spells are doing the most damage, so you need to go to Karazhan and get some, like, one ring of that, the Karazhan ring, where you can get with the reputation. You want to get some, if you are not an engineer with the goggles, or even at the start of TBC Retail you don't have these engineering goggles, so you want the legs from the theater, and there are a bunch of stuff, leading the dagger from the Prince from the end boss of Karazhan. You want gear that has much spell. It's like a spell on. And even you want some 1 or 2 pieces that have some hit on it. So you need spell hit, like 4% in the arena, you need 4% spell hit. And you are not getting that with PvP gear. The only 2 PvP items who gave you some spell hit are a ring, where you can get from some badges in Oshidum. I think, I don't know the exact name of these instances. They're next to Shatrat, these instances. Maybe Crix, you know it?
What, the ring from badges? I do not know. You talking about the bad ring?
Yeah, there's some.
I know there's a lurker ring that you
need 50 badges and can buy a ring with some resilience on and spell hit.
Do you mean the spirit shard ring?
Yeah,
Seal the exorcism.
Ring.
Seal the
exactly.
Spirit shard.
Seal the exorcist or something like that. Yeah, spirit shards. For 50 spirit shards.
Oh, what's it called though?
Yeah.
You know what it's
No,
called?
yes, Seal of the Exorcist or Seal of Exorcism.
I don't know the exact name.
Exor. Just search for Exor.
Exor? Okay.
Seal of X, you'll find it, yeah.
Seal Band of Exorcists or Seal of Exorcists?
No, it's Seal of the Exorcist. Seal of the...
There it is.
Exactly, that it is. So that's one of the items who give you some spell hit for PvP, and the main hand from Arena Points is giving you some spell hit. So I think not even in the first season. In the first season you're not getting spell hit from the weapon. It's like Season 2 where you get the first spell hit of the Arena weapon. So it's a bit hard to get your spell hit in the first season. You need to do PvE.
So there's a bunch of new stats in TBC, right guys? Stat lines. There's Spell Pen, there's Resilience, there's
Haste.
Other stuff. Yeah, I mean there's
Haste, Armor Pen, yeah, there's a lot.
How do you, like, what's your order of operations? Is it 3% hit you need for PvP? Is that the first thing you do? And also, what is Spell Pen? Is it important?
It's 4%.
What does it do?
It's 4% hit, what you want to have for PvP. And it's hard to get the Spell Pen. Normally you want to have 45 Spell Pen, or at least 43 Spell Pen as a mage for the arena. Let's talk about the arena, because that's the main fact where it's very important. And in the first season, it's nearly impossible to get it, only if you use some spell pen gems for it. So you need to gem your gear with spell pen to reach it. It's important against warlocks, because warlocks, and especially the warlocks pets, have a higher resistance chance against your spells. That means if you have 0 spell pen, you will not get any spell for warlock, and you don't want to have that in the arena. It's insanely important to get those spells on a warlock, so you need some spell pen. You can enchant 20 spell pen on a cloak, and that's...
And gem for it, that's about it, right?
Enchant for it, 20 spell pen on a cloak, and then gem for it, yeah.
Do you want that 70 like you do for the priest Shadow Prot too? Is that why you get that? Do you try to aim for 70 as well? Like Warlocks
No,
try to
I'm
aim
not-
for 70. What do you guys aim for?
I'm not aiming for 70. We are aiming only for 45, 43.
So let's say it's season 1. Are you gonna gem full spell pen? Like, are the most important things that you take care of first? Because in season 1 there is no season. There potentially is no set to work
The
with.
most important thing you care for is spell. So
Spell
you
hit?
literally want to have spell. So
Spell damage?
Pure spell damage, yeah.
Spell
Pure
damage.
spell damage.
I see. Okay.
Pure spell damage.
Spell damage.
So and your spell hit. That's these two things are very important. So,
Okay.
And then you try to get your spell pen done, and then you're fine for the arena.
And then what about moving into future seasons? So let's go, like, season 1's gonna be the
Moving
weird
into
one,
future
right?
seasons is like in season 3 or season 4, there's a big change. The haste is coming, and you want to go for that haste, because haste means your sheeps are insanely fast. If you're using icy veins and want to cast a fast sheep in a pretty sketchy moment. And I'm personally, so there's a bunch of different people talking about haste things and at which percentage you should go for it, and I'm always saying, like, if you're not reaching 9% haste with your gear and with the gems, don't go for it, because it's not worth. Like, if you have 5% haste, it makes not that much difference to your casts before.